Don't worry, man. I got you. All right. Today, guys, we're going to look at the ATI Radeon 9600 Pro. We're going to compare it to the X800 XT and 9800 Pro. This came out around 2003 and competed with the GeForce FX line. And the particular model I'm going to look at is the Sapphire version with 128 megabytes of DDR RAM. Obviously, I replaced the cooler with one of the generic Northbridge coolers I found on Amazon. This came in a 2-pack. One of them's on my ABIT IC7 Northbridge, and the other one's on this card. Do I recommend using this? As you can see, it makes the card a lot heavier. Also, it kind of blocks 2 PCI slots, so kind of keep that in mind. But it does the job, keeps the card pretty nice and cool. When the 9600 Pro came out, the MSRP was $159 to $200, which is not bad at all, especially when you compare it to the 9800 Pro with an MSRP of $399. And just like the other two videos, our Dream Machine has a 3.2 GHz Pentium 4 with the ABIT IC7 motherboard and 1 gig of RAM. When this came out, it actually ATI had the top end and mid-range markets cornered with their 9800 and 9600 Pro respectively. So let's go ahead and slap this 9600 Pro and this Maximum PC Dream Machine and get it installed. Process should be pretty straightforward. Because I had the 9800 Pro in there before, so it should be pretty easy. And it picked up the drivers and rebooted. That was it. It was pretty easy and straightforward. So the 9600 Pro is detected and drivers installed. If we look at Everest, we got a GPU clock of about 400 megahertz, 128 megabytes of 128-bit DDR RAM with an effective clock rate of 594 megahertz. So let's do some benchmarks. First up, we got Quake 2. All the 9600 Pro results are in orange. And if all you care about is 1024 by 768, the performance is pretty good until you hit to 1600 by 1200. And that's when it drops off a cliff, but you're still getting playable frame rate. So that's awesome. But quite significant reduction in performance compared to the other two. Man, Quake 2 was such an awesome game, and the soundtrack produced, I believe it was by Sonic Mayhem, did a phenomenal job. I almost play the game sometimes just to listen to the music. It's just so good.
Welcome to Quake 3 Arena. Jump here to reach the armor.
Kind of a similar story. Very exceptional performance in all the lower resolutions until you get to 1600 by 1200, where just like in Quake 2, the performance drops quite substantially. That being said, even at 1600 by 1200, where you're getting over 60 frames per second, which is very playable, you might run into some issues if you want to turn on some of the eye candy stuff, but 1600 by 1200 at maximum settings with over 60 frames per second. Not to mention you can get this card anywhere between $30 and $40 if you're patient enough on eBay. Obviously you might be able to find it even cheaper on Marketplace or something like that. I call that a win.
2 frags left. Tier 1, trainee. Ranger, Phobos, Minx, Orb, Sarge.
Man, the first time I saw this scene, I was just blown away. The graphics still kind of surprised me even to this day. for the time when this game came out in 1998. What's more surprising is the benchmark results of this game are very strange. I mean, you're getting at 1024 by 768 for whatever reason. The i600 Pro is leading the pack at more than 33% performance gains at 148.87 frames per second. I do not know why. I even reran the benchmarks and reinstalled Unreal, and I got the same results. Not sure what's going on here, but this is what I got. And with 3D Mark, very predictable score. We're getting the X800 XT on top, and then it kind of trickles all the way down. But I mean, you're getting a huge performance gap between the top and bottom. But again, you're building a Windows 98 machine with this. It's be great. I don't know about XP. The performance would probably be lacking unless you're building a very specific machine. But for Windows 98, this card is just awesome. And moving on to 3D Mark 2000. Very similar results. You're getting over, I mean, the performance difference is quite substantial, as you can see, especially once you get to 1600 by 1200, just like in 3D Mark 99. I mean, you're getting 17,000 versus 7,000, and with the compared to like 9800 Pro, it's like right in the middle. So very predictable results, but again, very playable in all the old games that I've tested, and you're getting the same compatibility at a much lower price, and cooling these are much easier too, and you don't need a high-end power supply, something to keep in mind. But yeah, very good showing from the 9600 Pro. And with 3D Mark 2001 second edition, that gap just keeps getting wider for the 9600 Pro at 1600 by 1200. Just insane. You got almost a 10,000 point lead with the X800 XT Platinum Edition, which is pretty understandable. I mean, the card is almost 3 times as much, and it's 2 generations newer. So awesome stuff. Really hope you enjoyed the looking back at the Radeon 9600 Pro. A very respectable card for its time, and I feel like it still has a lot of love to give if you're trying to build a retro battle station and to enjoy Windows 98 games, especially the later games. And you can even turn on some eye candy features like anisotropic filtering or some anti-aliasing and still get really playable frame rate at 1024 by 768. One of the reasons why you might want to consider this over a 9800 Pro is obviously its cost. You don't have to worry about the cooler as much, though I highly recommend replacing the thermal paste, obviously. And you know, unfortunately, I wasn't able to save the fan on this one. It was pretty far gone, so had to replace it. Did you have any of the video cards I talked about in this video? I would love to hear your comments below. Like always, thank you for watching. Peace.